Hi everybody, it's Caroline here and welcome to my channel. And today I am working with the brand new Tracy Redesigns collection called Aflutter. This has just hit Tracy's shop, so if you like this collection at all, I'm sure it's still on discounted price if you head over there, and I'll put a link to that shop in the description box below. I'm going to be working at 12 by 12 canvas, so I've got a sheet of white cardstock to go with this because this is a printable kit and I don't own a large format printer. What I have done is I've already pulled out some of the pattern papers and I've printed these at 8.25, so basically a traveller's notebook signature size, but because these are printable you can print them at any size that you wanted. I've decided to pull in a palette of blues from the collection and the pink, and also this gorgeous distressed black and white butterfly print, which I really love. So those are going to be my paper choices. I've printed some of the smaller pattern cards as well to use as part of this layout. A black and white photo of myself. I've printed 2 journaling cards because I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet, and also one of the sentiment cards. And my design is going to be kind of central with lots of tag shapes and cut out of the papers, which is why I didn't bother printing my papers any bigger than that. I've also got some of this pink tulle because I'm going to use that potentially somewhere in the background for a little bit of texture. I've got the die cuts printed and cut from my die cutting machine. I've already used some of these, but I've still got a massive selection to go for, which is really good. I've got a couple of, a few acrylic pieces from an old Bramble Fox order I did last February, I think. And then some of these blue star things, plastic stars that match the blues really nicely. So I may bring those in some additional kind of scattering of embellishments. I've got Distress Oxide and Victorian Velvet because I want to ink the edges of my papers and also of the ink the edge of my background page. And I've brought in 2 butterfly punches because there's lots and lots of butterflies in the collection, and so those ones will be perfect for me to punch out some additional ones as part of this layout. I've also pulled out a tag punch. It's a kind of medium-sized tag, and the tags that I want in the background are going to be bigger than this one, but I am hoping to maybe punch out the journal cards, I think, into a smaller tag. Yeah, I'll probably end up doing that. So really looking forward to creating my second project with this collection, and I will put things onto fast forward and voiceover and take you along so you can see what I put together. So step 1 for me at this point is to go in and cut out tag shapes from all of the pattern papers that I want to use. As I said, I'm going to have a white cardstock background and I'm going to be building up a collection of tags that will be facing upwards and upside down and on the horizontal from all of these pattern papers. So I'm cutting them all to the same size, and then in a moment I'll be cutting them to a tag shape using a tag that I've got in my stash that I always use as a template for this size of tag. And one thing I am doing at this point is I'm trying to decide which tags I'm going to be having on the horizontal and making sure that the pattern is one that works well if it isn't vertical. So for example, I'm not likely to put the patterned the butterfly pattern or the floral so that it's upside down. I wouldn't want the butterflies to be kind of flying downwards, so I'm going to be making sure that on my design those papers go in a place where they are the correct orientation. I have got a tag punch, as I showed you earlier, that I could use, but that's slightly smaller than these tags, and so at this point I'm really happy to just use the tag that I've got in my stash. It's a really nice, it's just a normal, it was from a stationery shop, it's just a normal packing tag, and then I go in with my new We Are Memory Keepers crocodile. I think this is still called a crocodile. It's one of these ones where the hole can be changed, the size of the hole can change, and it's really useful. Really enjoy using it. I normally only use it on 1 or 2 settings, but I have used the tiny setting on a couple of occasions and it's been really good for that. So just laying things down, inking the edges of everything with that Distress Oxide, as I said earlier, even the blues, just to bring the same tone to all of the edges of the pattern papers. And now I'm just going to work out very roughly, again as I said, looking to see what patterns work well upside down or on the horizontal, and which ones need to go with the correct orientation so things don't confuse the mind or the eye too much. And the idea with this layout and this design is that the tags are all going to be across the centre of the 12 by 12 canvas. The photo will be over on the left hand side on top of the tags, and then I'll also have a couple of smaller tags which I'm just working out here, which where exactly they're going to be punched from these 3 by 4 cards, and these will be layered onto the larger tags, one as a sentiment piece, so I'm using a 3 by 4 journaling card as that sentiment piece, so a kind of subtitle if you like. And then I'm also taking one of the 3 by 4 cards, which worked really well actually. It was a lovely pink ledger paper 3 by 4 card that had a gorgeous distressed white border to it, so I'm cutting off that beautiful border, but I'm using the the pink ledger paper as my journaling card. So what I'm going to do is punch that out into a smaller tag as well, and then I've got the 2 different size tags for the layout, and that helps it just helps things to pull them together, but just adds that little bit of interest so that we've got some different sizes coming in now with these this repetition of the shape. I'm going to move things around quite a lot until I get everything exactly where I want it to be, and as things start to look right to my eye, I'm going to start very, very lightly adhering them together with just a tiny bit of adhesive, so that I've got the whole thing as one kind of floppy piece of paper in the centre that I can still move around, and then I will be able to just move it backwards and forwards on my background sheet of cardstock and decide whether or not I need to add in any additional tags, and in the end I will need to do that, but at the moment, as I said, just very lightly adhering things so I can see what the colours look like next to each other, what the tags look like next to each other. You know, I'm just very, very offsetting the top and the bottom of my vertical tags so that there's a little bit of visual interest, so that it's just not one block of tags in the middle. There's a bit of an up and down, a bit of movement, and then I'll be layering those smaller tags onto the top. I will be adding in some fibres and some twine to my tags. For some reason, whenever I use tags on a layout, I have to include, I can't just leave them blank. I have to punch a hole and add in some ribbon or some twine. It's just a design element for me that makes sense only if it has the bit of thread that's coming through the hole, so I will be adding that in, and that's another reason I haven't adhered this to my background yet. So just as I said, lightly tacking things, realising that actually I do want another tag over on that right hand side. There's a bit too much white space there, so I'm just going to be pulling in some different pattern papers, some scraps of these pattern papers, punching out tags, and just extending the design elements that little bit more. So I'm really happy with these extra tags, and what I've decided to do to this floppy piece of paper is I've added some washi tape on the back just to hold all of those tags together, and I have decided that I wanted to add some really light stamping with a background stamp and some ink splatters to my white cardstock background, just to give it a little bit of interest. So I'm actually using a really old distress ink that's not very juicy at all, and I'm just really lightly pressing that background stamp into the ink, and you'll notice that I moved the stamp kind of left to right. I almost rolled it onto the page so that there's not that much of the design going down onto the page at all. I'm really looking for a very light stamp, just so that it is some interest in the background. I've already marked with a light pencil dot where the tags are, so that these ink splatters and that bit of stamping will be peeking out from behind the tag. There'll be some that is lost, but that's fine, but mainly it's just going to kind of emerge from underneath my tag layers. I've added in some baker's twine and some garden twine to all of my tags, just for some added interest and some different texture. And I'm trying to decide now between 2 of the pattern papers here, or 2 of the pattern cards actually, as to which one I'm going to use to match my photo. I printed my photo and I left a little white border on it, so it does pop from the background tags quite nicely, but I did want to bring in a photo mat. So at this point what I'm doing is I'm bringing in my die cuts, because I'm thinking one of the photo mat choices is that blue and white white stripe, which works really, really well as a photo mat, but actually blends a little bit too well into that blue tag. And then there's that multicoloured plaid, which is gorgeous and really, really pops up. But it's a bit, to my eye at this point, it's a bit stark because it's got all of the colours from the collection in it. And I haven't brought all of the colours of the collection into this page at this point. I'm using just that blue, white, black and white and pink colour scheme, and that is why in the end I did decide to just go with that stripe. It does blend a little bit into the blue tag, but because my photo has that white border to it and because I'm inking my edges, it pops up enough for my eye to do just what I wanted it to do. Now I'm ready to adhere everything down, so I'm sticking lots and lots of my roller adhesive to the back of these tags, which are already held together with that washi tape. I know exactly where they're going to go because, as I said earlier, I've made a few pencil dots, and really happy with the placement of the tags and the stamping. And it's that really, really light pink ink splatter, which doesn't show up too well on the camera but looks absolutely gorgeous in person. It's a really, really old Tattered Angels glimmer mist that was bubblegum pink, I think, so it's a really, really faint pink ink, and there's a little tiny shimmer to it, so it's really, really pretty. I don't know if you can buy it anymore, but I've hardly got any left in the bottle, and so I will actually have to have a look and see if I can still buy it, because once it's gone I will be really disappointed if I can't replace it, and I'll have to look for something that's similar, because the other inks that I use are actually really quite bright. They're the Dilutions ink spray, so they're really saturated in colour, and these ones are really, really nice and soft. Now I'm starting to pull in elements from the die cut sticker packs to see what I can use to embellish my page. I want to definitely bring in that circle journaling spot to kind of be a foundation, if you like, for an embellishment cluster, and I'm toying with the idea of that other circular element, bringing it over on the right hand side, just so that I've got that circle shape repeated in a couple of places. So I'm going kind of moving that backwards and forwards. I'll also be moving this rainbow backwards and forwards between the left and the right before I decide where I want to put it. Now my intention at this point was to have the sentiment card as my title, but on the original layout that I was scraplifting, I did have a title over on the right hand side, so I decided to add in my title, which I've just done off camera, with some white puffy stickers, and I decided to use white, which may seem like a really strange choice because they're stuck on a white background, but because the whole feel of this page is just really, really soft. It does show up as a really soft page on camera, but in person, and I actually turned through to this page again in my album today, it is just so soft, it is so pretty, and I really felt that the white on white for the title was just perfect. It matches the sentiment that I want to tell in my story of kind of softness and change, really beautifully, and so I'm really happy with my choice of white. And I'm just having fun at the moment with the embellishments from the collection, bringing them in, moving them around, trying to decide which ones to use and where. I knew I wanted some butterflies in because, again, they really match the story that I'm telling about transformation and personal growth. And so just putting those in different places on the page. And this is where I had a sudden brainwave that although there were lots of papers that there were lots of butterflies in the die cuts, there are also lots of papers with butterflies on, and I had my butterfly punch, which I'm just testing out here on a pattern paper, but also I really, really love the butterflies that are from the pattern paper in the very center tag, that black, it almost looks like it's a stamped butterfly, and I was sure I had a butterfly stamp somewhere in my stash, but I couldn't find it. So in the end I decided to go off camera in a moment and fussy cut a couple of those butterflies out, just so that they can be an additional softer butterfly embellishment. And I have this diagonal growth of butterflies. They just kind of fly up from the bottom and up to that top right hand side, and it's just really, really pretty, and I'm really, really happy with the overall effect that I get from these additional pieces being brought in. Because Tracy offers so many die cuts and stickers with her kits, I very rarely turn to my punches, and I was really pleased that I did turn to my punches on this occasion, because as I said, there were quite a few different butterflies in the collection, but this way I was able to bring in different shapes, different sizes, different patterns. So I was able to bring the patterns from all of the tags into my butterflies, and they just look so pretty. It's, yeah, I'm just really happy with the effect. Even those tiny ones, these butterfly punches, they were Martha Stewart. Again, I'm not sure if you can still buy them, but there was one with a larger butterfly and then a second punch with a medium-sized butterfly and 2 tiny butterflies, and they're some of my favorite punches. I use them lots and lots. It was really great to kind of bring them in here and be able to draw those patterns in from the tags up into different places on the page. This is where I'm experimenting with those plastic starburst shapes and the acrylic pieces that I showed earlier, and they do match the colours really well, and they just help to kind of add that feel of a confetti and the flow that I've got with the butterflies. It just a little bit more texture, just a different shape, something organic, because with this design, with these tags across the centre of the page, it's really easy for this kind of design to feel really blocky and really boxy, so adding in different shapes and kind of scattering things helps it to feel more organic and just softer. Really, it just really helps to add to the flow of your eye across the page, and it just makes things look really pretty. So really love this layout. Okay, so that is this one complete. I just need to add my journaling on here, which I'm going to type onto matte sticker paper and stick that down there. And I will add some Nuvo drops into these 4 embellishment clusters, just as a few little bits of confetti, let them dry overnight. I've inked my edges in the same Victorian Velvet ink, and I'm really happy. It's a lovely soft feminine page. The scrap lift went really well. So really happy with how this one has come together. I've loved working with this collection from Tracy, and I've got so many ideas for my next project with this. I didn't bring in that pink tulle, which would have looked really lovely in the background. My plan had been to kind of layer it up under the tags, and it would have, yeah, size wise it would have worked quite nicely, but that's okay. It looks great as it is, and I think these bits of gentle stamping have done the right thing for me in terms of texture on that background. So I really hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and if you don't already, please subscribe. I'd really love to see you here again, and I will come to you with another video again soon. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. See you again soon. Bye.